really prioritize mentorship and the student experience. And we have cultivated an environment that really promotes your success. In addition, you have some opportunities that you can take advantage of, but you don't have to. For example, you can TA in a course to get some experience teaching. You can be involved in writing a newsletter or in shaping the website. There are career events and social events that some students get involved with as well. And so we have a lot of features that enable students to become leaders. And we have a very dynamic graduate student association. And so you can become part of that if you like. And all of this contributes to building a community that we are proud of. Okay, so molecular genetics is actually a quite an old department. We have changed names a number of times over the years, but we really were one of the first molecular biology type departments in Canada. And so we have graduated a lot of students. So we have a big alumni network, and we make use of them in bringing them back and actually talking to you guys about what kind of careers they ended up in and how they got there so they can help advise you. Okay, so many of the students that we have graduated are now leaders in lots of different things: academia, research, healthcare, private sector. And we bring them back for career workshops. We have a big one that's once a year in the spring, and then the GSA tends to organize bi-monthly workshops that involve some of these people. And so basically, we have pioneered a career development program to educate our students about career possibilities and empower trainees to effectively network and identify career opportunities and enable trainees to develop skills that are required for diverse careers. Okay, you need some money to live in Toronto, and we have a guaranteed stipend. This is the amount for the upcoming year, and this is referred to as a harmonized base funding agreement because what that means is that all the similar research departments in the Faculty of Medicine have agreed to have the same funding for all the students. Okay, so if you are a domestic MSc student, we pay the current pay amount is just over 39,000. If you're a domestic PhD student, it's just over 41,000. Now, from these, you will pay your tuition, which is indicated over here. So it's just over 8,000 for PhD and over 9,000 for an MSc. And so that gives you your take-home amount is your living allowance, which is shown down in the bottom right corner here. Okay, now if you're an international student, international PhD students pay the same tuition as our domestic PhD students. So they get essentially paid the same, except that we also pay, there's a healthcare fee for international students, which is $792, and we pay that to you so that you can pay that, okay? So that you come out the same in terms of your living allowance. Now, for international MSc students, it's different because the tuition, which is set by the province and not by us, is very high. So it's over $34,000. So we have to pay you more to cover that tuition. All right. So the pay is shown here, almost $65,000, which means it's quite expensive for people to take an international master's students. And that is why we tell everyone, and I'll tell you again, that international master's students have to have pre-arranged a sponsor in our department because it's a lot of people will not have the money to pay that much for a student. Okay, now another thing to keep in mind, we always encourage you to win an award, bring in your own money. We'll be telling you about these when you're in our program, what things are available for you. And if you do that and you win a major award, you of course keep that money, and we will give you a top up above what we show here. Okay, a $5,000 top up. And if it's a partial award, it goes down in increments from there. Okay, if you happen to bring in a big scholarship that's worth more than we guarantee, you keep that extra and get the top up. Right? So you're always encouraged to try and get awards. And if you don't have one, you will get the amounts that are shown here. Okay, if you want to know more about our department, there's lots of sources for you. So we have the GSA for our department has a website that's shown there. We have social media. We're on Instagram, X, Facebook, so you can check us out there. You can check out the MoGen website, it has a lot of information there. And we always encourage you to talk to our current students when you're thinking about joining a particular lab maybe or considering it. It's always good to talk to the students that work there and see what their experience has been. Okay, now let's go into how do you apply? If this is what you're looking for, how do you apply? Okay, so we have a lot of information on how to apply on our website, and that's the link at the top there. The applications themselves are submitted through the School of Graduate Studies, not through our department. Okay, and so that's the link in the middle of the page. And we have, you can only start in our department in September. We don't have January entrance. We did at one time. We don't have that now. And the application date, so now you'd be looking at September 2026. And we have two application dates, November 15th and January 15th. Okay, so we used to have a May deadline. We have taken that out this year for the reason that last year we just really got a lot of applications in the first two and a lot of people accepting our offers, so that we didn't have a lot of slots left for May. So we think it's more fair just to have the two application deadlines. And then what we will do if we're not full after that is we will continue to accept applications on a rolling basis. And if some of those look great, we can accept those. But this is not guaranteed. So if you know you want to come to our department, do apply for one of those dates, November 15th or January 15th. And I should also mention you only get to apply once. So if you apply November 15th and you reject it, you don't get to apply again January 15th. So just pick one that suits you when you think you're going to have your strongest application. Okay, so what you're going to be applying for is either an MSc or a PhD. So the MSc are applicants who have never been enrolled in an MSc program before, but they have an A+ average or better in all relevant courses in their BSc. And once you're in our MSc program, you can reclassify to become a PhD student, and that happens a year and a half after you're in the program. Or you can decide to stay in the MSc and finish with a master's degree. Okay, so then we have what we call direct entry PhD, and these are applicants who have completed or are nearing the completion of a master's degree and have distinguished themselves in that degree. Okay, so just having completed the degree doesn't mean we will take you. You have to show that you have done well. Then secondly, applicants who have never been enrolled in an MSc program, but have an average of A- or higher in all relevant courses from their BSc. And so you can then apply directly for a PhD. You don't have to go through and have a master's degree first. So we should also mention that domestic applicants for the PhD program will automatically be considered for the MSc program. If we think you don't quite meet the requirements for the PhD, but you do meet the requirements for the MSc, we will make you an offer for the MSc. So that means you don't have to apply to both. Or if you really want the PhD, but you're worried that maybe you'll get rejected, it's okay. You can still apply for the PhD, and we will bump you down to the master's if we think that's a better fit for you. Okay, then there's a third category that almost is never used, called regular PhD. And that is only for students who have completed an MSc in our program and then are re-entering our PhD program. So occasionally we get students doing this, for example, if they want to switch labs. Okay, so that doesn't apply to you unless you're already done an MSc in our program. Okay, so what's in the application package? So you need a letter of intent, which we'll talk about in a second, your transcripts, a CV, and at least two letters of reference. You can go with two. You can add three if you think that you have three good ones. And the application costs $130. Um, there is a sponsor form, and that is only for people that are international MSc students. No one else needs to do that. There's an English language proficiency proof, which is for international and permanent resident applicants who completed their admitting degree in a language other than English, right? If you trained in English, you don't need that. Okay, we have a checklist, looks something like that. And this is to guide you to make sure you have everything in your application. And this is a bit longer than the things that the School of Graduate Studies says. So our rules supersede the SGS rules, okay, because we have a few additional requirements. Okay, so about the letter of intent, we require a structured letter of intent which addresses your past and current research experiences. You should talk about your research interests, outlining particular topics that you think you're interested in for graduate study, and name some faculty members that you think you might like to work with. We do not hold you to this. Once you're admitted, you might change your mind, but at least just shows that you've done your homework and had a look at what our research is and who in the faculty is doing that kind of research. Let us know your long-term professional goals and why completing the master's or PhD that you're applying for will help you achieve these goals. We want you to clarify any details of your academic path that might be relevant for your application. Okay, if it's very straightforward, you did the usual and you know BSc and you're going directly into graduate studies, there's maybe not much to say. But if you had a gap, let's say, and you might explain what happened in that gap, you worked for a while, decided to come back to school, something like that. Also, it's a good place if you had, you know, sort of a bad year in marks. This is your place that you could explain that. Maybe you had extenuating circumstances. You were very ill that year, or you had some, you know, someone you had to look after, or you had to work a second job, you know, stuff like that. We understand that this stuff happens. So we would like you to explain if you think there are extenuating circumstances we should know about. And you know, if COVID-19 had any major impact on your research ability to do research experience or anything like that, you can explain that in there as well. So this should be 2 pages and be focused and succinct, and write in a letter style, not in just bullet points, and just be authentic and sincere, so we can you know, understand what your interests are. Okay, so in addition to that, you're going to need your transcripts. So we need to see evidence of an outstanding education. So this is a 4-year BSc, or it can be a BSc with a master's. And there are minimal mark cutoffs, which are shown there, 3.3 GPA or B plus average. And but those are minimal cutoffs. I mean, most of our people who are successful, have to say, have higher marks than that. We look for high marks, especially in the courses that are relevant for our program. So we'd like to see over 80% in things like genetics, biochemistry, molecular biology. Okay, and you need to provide a scanned transcript for every post-secondary institution that you have trained at. We will ask you for the official transcript later once you're admitted. Lab research experience. We expect you to have some practical experience. And this should be in a research lab. It could be summer work as a summer student, 2nd or 3rd year projects, and a 4th year thesis research project is a good one. All right. So we are looking for this practical experience, and we are looking for references that can attest to your research skills, because that's very important for our program. Okay, so letters of reference, as I said, you need at least two of them. And preferably these should be from a PI who supervised, or principal investigator who supervised your thesis, or who supervised your research in their labs. It could be summer research project of some sort. Okay, and um, so that, and in addition, it can be a faculty member who knew you well in your courses. That's another good one, but we do want that research reference, and it should be the faculty member. If you, maybe you worked for, you know, the lab manager supervised you, or the postdoc or whatever. Don't ask them for the reference letter, ask the faculty member. It carries a lot more weight. Okay. Then we do conduct some interviews. This is especially true for international students. We interview all of the international students. And we may interview additional students if it's not very clear cut, and we have some questions for you. Okay, for international applicants, as I mentioned, there's an English proficiency exam. So you need the results of this English language proficiency test if you graduated from a non-Canadian university where the language of instruction was not English, right? And then, so there's the three official type tests that you can submit. Um, as I mentioned, if you're applying for the MSc program, you must secure a sponsor within the department. And you would arrange that ahead, and your sponsor will get a form to fill out, and will send that to Sabine to say that they have officially sponsored you. Okay. And what that means is that they're agreeing that if you get admitted to the department, they will take you into their lab. Um, they don't. You can change your mind and go to another lab later if you want to, if you can convince someone else to take you. But you at least have this one guaranteed spot. Okay. Now, for PhD students, you do not need a sponsor. Even international PhD students can apply directly. At one time, we required sponsorship, but we haven't done that for a few years. Okay. As I said, applications usually cost $130. There are such things as application fee waivers. They're only given in exceptional circumstances. For example, if you're coming from regions of war or civil unrest, you're a refugee, an asylum seeker, that kind of thing. And these fee waivers are not automatic, and they're considered on a case-by-case basis. So if you think you might qualify to request an application fee waiver, you must contact a faculty member in our department that you are interested in. Indicate to them why you're interested in joining the department and why you think you are a good fit, and send them, information like your CV and transcript, and they can evaluate whether they think you're a good candidate for our department. Okay, so basically they'll have to think that you have a good chance of getting admitted to our department in order to authorize that fee waiver. All right. And the reason for that is, well, it's called a fee waiver. The money doesn't just go away. It actually is the department that has to pay the fee for you. So obviously we can't just do that for a lot of people. The department will use up all their money on fee waivers. Okay, and if you go to our website and the link shown at the bottom there, it describes in detail how to request a fee waiver. Okay. Finding a sponsor. Okay, so this is just for international MSc students. So if you've already been associated with our department and interacted with some faculty member, they're the obvious choice. They're the people that you would start with. If not, you can contact faculty whose research you're just particularly interested in. Maybe you've had some experience in that topic, and email them, and they'll want to see your CV and transcript and explain yourself and why you're interested in their lab. And then they would probably want to meet with you in person if you're in Toronto, or on Zoom or other sources. And the department does not facilitate identifying sponsors for you. So if you decide you want to try for the international masters, you have to do all the legwork yourself. Don't email, the admin team saying, can you help me find a sponsor? Because we just can't do that. Okay. If you're an international student, you're going to need a visa or study permit. And these can take time and they're totally out of our control. So we have no authorization to issue these things. You have to go through Canadian immigration, and often this might take 12 weeks. So we're just warning you, apply early. The earlier, the better. Um, and you have to arrive and be able to start in our program in our start date in September, which is right after the Labor Day weekend is when we start. Okay, so um, if you we do have some times where people's immigration work gets hung up somewhere and just does not get approved in time, and then they have to defer to the next year because they can't come in time. Okay. So I mentioned at the beginning that in addition to our regular sort of MSc and PhD program, we have a version that's called Computational Biology and Molecular Genetics, or CBMG. And this track aims to provide students with an immersive computational biology education. So students can be admitted at either the master's or the PhD program. It used to be just the PhD program, but starting this year, you'll be able to apply for the master's program as well. And you are provided opportunities and courses specific to this discipline of computational biology to maximize your training in this area. And so this is for biologists who have programming expertise already and already have some kind of experience, or quantitative scientists that maybe have less biology background, but they have done, quantitative science and computational background. So the coordinators for this are Gary Bader and Hannes Ross that oversee this program. And basically, you do the same curriculum as I just described with the core curriculum of the core courses, except instead of taking the regular programming course that everyone else is taking, you take a more advanced level computational biology, and there's actually 2 courses that you'll have to take in that. Okay, and starting for September 2026, we are planning to have additional computational courses available as well. Okay, so if you're applying for the CBMG track, what do you need? Well, you need a bachelor's degree in life sciences or in quantitative sciences, such as math or physics, computer science, chemistry, engineering. You need to have an undergraduate average of A minus or higher, and a completed online application form where you tick the box for CBMG in the proposed area of study. You're going to write a letter of intent, just like I already described. But in this letter of intent, be sure to mention that you're interested in CBMG, and then why, when you explain your interest, why are you interested in that? And you're going to explain your background research, right? Like I've already said for everyone else, but here it would be good to explain your background in computational biology. You'll have at least 2 letters of reference, and then all of these students are interviewed by professors in the CBMG program, and that is really to make sure that you are of sufficient level for to be in the CBMG program. You have enough computational background to be able to keep up with the computational courses, which are pretty advanced. Okay, so what is required here is for CBMG is a comfort of computer programming. So you might have academic excellence in multiple computer courses. You might have done computational research. You might have done programming through employment or extracurricular activities. All those would be good, and you should describe those. You need academic excellence in 2 or more quantitative subjects. So that might be calculus, linear algebra, probability statistics, or other math or other quantitative courses. You need research experience outside of the classroom, just like I said for the other programs. So in this case, it can either be wet lab or dry lab type experience. So your experience might be a computational project, right, where you're not actually in the lab conducting experiments, and that would be fine for this program. So again, this could be summer studentships that you had, a lab job that involved working on a scientific problem, or a fourth year honors project. Okay, so once you apply and you get an acceptance from us, what do you do next? Well, every spring, typically in March, we have a recruitment day where we invite people who we have admitted to the department, provided that they are in North America. Unfortunately, we can't fly people from around the world. And They get a day where they meet with various students and various faculty members and just hear more details about our program. And this is to help you decide to choose us and to come. And even if you've already decided to come, it's just sort of to get you ready for our program and what things you should be thinking about. When you get our acceptance, you should return the acceptance letter promptly. We do need to hear from you. We have a couple of rounds of admissions, as I said, so it's very helpful that we get an answer from you before the next round so we know how many openings that we have. And the deadline will be indicated in the offer that you get, and it typically varies from like 2 to 4 weeks. So you can start considering rotation labs, by looking on our website, talking with PIs or students, starting to do your homework about what area you'd be interested in. Now, we do survey the students, all of you who are coming in the summer, to find out your rotation choices. And we will let you know at that time, before we survey you, which PIs are accepting rotation students that year, because not everybody will have an opening every year.